Well, hey, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30 plus year video game enthusiast and industry analyst. And today, for July 28th, 2025, we'll run through the latest gaming news, what I've been playing. So, yeah, let's get started. Morning, Ultronimus. Good to see you. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I saw Superman, and I was entertained watching it, but to be honest, just someone, from my tastes, I found that almost like a disappointingly bad movie. Even though, again, it was entertaining to watch. Wife liked it, youngest liked it, but thinking about it more, I feel like, okay, James Gunn really did help WB make their 4-quadrant mainstream film, which is what the Superman movie really is. It's just and it's just so funny because as I'm watching it, I'm like, wait a minute, this is the same plot of Blade Trinity, where you have this guy that's a superhero that's been doing these things, but then the bad guys are able to like frame him, and then he gets captured, and then he loses energy, and so they have to do something to give him. Actually, even in Blade, they captured him, but they framed him in Trinity and captured him. And then he had to get the and fight someone that was supposed to be his equal. It's just kind of funny how it had very similar plots. The other part too is I feel like a lot of what James Gunn then did, which was smart on his part, making this the 4-quadrant mainstream film that he was, hired to make. He then, within the plot, he speaks on his cancellation that happened when he was at Disney. So it's very interesting because it's like he's given all this money to make this movie, but he knows that he's got to make it a good business. It's got to make business sense for him to keep his status at WB. So yeah, he makes the movie, that 4-quadrant the movie. And because that, for people like me, then it's like, well, okay, but at least though it's positive, it's making a lot of money. So I mean, there's really a lot of good things coming out of it. But you know what? At the same time, I'm not a big Superman character fan, so that's why it's like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much. I wonder, like, if I was a fan, if it would be where then I would enjoy it despite, So that's the thing. It's not like I'm there for Superman. So then whatever this film turned out to be, But that was about it. And next is to see Fantastic Four, and from people I've talked to, they've told me they liked it better than Superman. That's interesting. But no, and then I had fun. So we had anime night Sunday night, like we've been doing lately, and we continued with Invincible, but then we watched 2 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I am so glad I got to have this group watch the first 2 episodes, because I think the first 2 episodes really sets up. It's like such a strong setup for a story, and then the way the second episode ends. Man, I really, really like that I got the crew to watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Let's see, Ultronimus. Let's see. Oh, I thought this was a good film to show why people are Superman fans at all. I like Superman more personally, but both are good and had similar positive hero vibes. Yeah, and I guess it could be part of it. Like, I don't really care for Superman too much. I never really have. So that could be part of it. But oh dear, which JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? This is the one that is it started in 2012, but it's the one that's currently got a bunch of seasons going on right now. The first 2 episodes are awesome because it sets up everything so well. And it plays, roundabout that song from Yes at the end. It's just a perfect. Yeah, those first 2 episodes are just awesome. Okay, well, let's get into what I've been playing. So, and I think it was, this weekend, Saturday morning, in fact. Oh, hey, Jim Killick, good to see you. I beat Donkey Kong Bonanza. So to beat it and not 100% everything, 27 hours. And that's playing, it's not, it wasn't going straight through though. This is me stopping sometimes, uh, going back to other worlds, getting some bananas so I can upgrade. And then I got to a point where I realized, well, I don't really need to upgrade everything. And then I'm like, okay, this game's getting a little long. So I would say there's so much extra stuff that I feel like the main game could have been shorter. But I don't know. Why say something should be short? I think it's because it just got to a point where I was like, okay, I get the game. This is fun. This is cool. I'm fine to see an end. And I think what it did really well is there was like a series of last bosses that they were less about your powers you gained along the way, and they were more about the twitch controls of, oh, make sure you don't fall, make sure you hit the boss on time, which is really all it ended up being. But I will say Donkey Kong Bonanza, game of the year, best game I played this year, best game I played in a long time for so many reasons. Um, it's funny because I look at when we were just talking about the Superman movie and how it was made. It's like made for everyone, and Nintendo does that with their games. But the thing is, I think Nintendo found a formula, and they've always been good about this because this game, and I said it plays just like Mario 64. When they went to 3D with Mario 64, they really nailed something. And then just here in Donkey Kong Bonanza, we're seeing it fully realized, but also it's where there's a lot of things that have converged, like the Donkey Kong Country series has all converged into this, and I'm not going to spoil the game for gamers here. I mean, if you don't know Donkey Kong history, it's not a big deal. And so I'm not going to spoil it yet. I mean, I might talk about it in the future, but there's so many connections to the OG Donkey Kong Country. I'm surprised all the Donkey Kong Country connections. Like you could say this is a Donkey Kong Country sequel, but I think that's part of Nintendo doing a good job of knowing what the IP was, because there's so many years of Donkey Kong games, different variations of them, characters and all that, and they do all that stuff here. Any other last things to add about Donkey Kong Bonanza? So after I beat it, there are then back in other worlds, you could go to these certain people you meet, and they have, it looks like, all new games to get like tons of bananas. So that's the other thing, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, there's already so much to this game, it justifies the cost. Tons of content and gameplay. And then, yeah, thinking about the other thing too is, so not this past Thursday, but the Thursday before is when I got it, and I beat it this Saturday, which, as a gamer, I remember when I was younger, I'd beat games over the weekend. But this game is a bit longer and took more time. But I guess part of what I'm almost like internally grasping with here is how I I I, sh- I want to be able to give the games more time to breathe with me. But it really depends. Like Donkey Kong Bonanza, I can see myself jumping back in to try to get a banana or two here or there. I like that. Um, but how compelled am I going to be to do that? We'll see. And so Nintendo could supposedly have a direct, or potentially have a direct coming up pretty soon. I'm curious if they're going to maybe announce more DLC or more things, even though like there's already so much that I could be doing. So, hey, Jim Kellogg and Talos, good to see you. So yeah, we'll see. Again, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Um, and it's another thing. I say it's like my favorite game of the year, and but I say you don't necessarily need to buy a Switch 2. And like, even though Donkey Kong Bonanza is so amazing, it's one of those things where you would buy a Switch 2 if like you already knew you wanted to play a game like Donkey Kong Bonanza. If you don't really feel like you need to play the game like Donkey Kong Bonanza right away, then you probably don't need to Switch 2, and that's actually perfectly valid. There's like so much other gaming you could do out there. You don't really need the Switch 2, but the Switch 2 is selling so crazy that it seems like the market was needing a Switch 2. So, oh, did I? No, I haven't got a chance to try Machine Mind yet. Not yet. Hopefully I'll get to that. Okay, some other stuff. Okay, so G Rebels was from Friday, which was awesome. I didn't even get back into that. But then, yeah, over the weekend, not too much. It was just Fast Fusion, beating Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart World, and then jumping into, Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2 because they're doing the event to give you a bunch of suits. And already it's giving me duplicates of suits. Like, I already had the narrative B packs, but it gave it to me again. And then this morning it gave it to me again. And that's just, if there was a way I could just get some of the suits I want, I would actually be playing more right now. And maybe Bandai Namco, and this is just on the PS5 version, they see 283 hours and they're like, yeah, we don't need to give them anything. It's too bad because I really want to, like, F91, Gundam EX, they got the G-Quux. There's so many suits they're going to be coming out with that I'd like to get. PC and PlayStation, So yeah, we'll see. Ultramus, dude, I got 2 narrative V packs when I already had it. Dude, that's so. I can't believe that it happened to you too. They must be doing that on purpose to some degree, because yeah, that's crazy. You should collect the RT they're giving you. It's because they will be bringing the High New and Nightingale. Oh, well, I have the High New already. Don't have a Nightingale, but not too crazy about it. Yeah, I think the High New was the first and only suit I ever bought. Where, well, I had the tokens, but then I had to like pay to have extra or something. Okay, and then I think that's about it. I guess we'll jump into news. Yeah, because was there anything else that I might have played, like not even on mobile? I kind of had a busy weekend doing other things, actually, where I wasn't really sitting around playing games too much. But okay, so let's move on to some news. Code Violet launches November 14th. So I don't know if I heard of this, and then I saw third-person action horror, and I was like, okay. So, third-person action horror game Code Violet will launch for PlayStation 5 on November 14th for $49.99. Is it only PlayStation Store? Let's see. Code Violet. Let me search because Dino Crisis inspired shooter. What? So is this really only PlayStation? I mean, it might be like a timed exclusive, but let's see. Survival gameplay. I don't know. So, the survival gameplay like Resident Evil, not like Ark or something. Although there are dinosaurs. Huh. This would be interesting to try. I don't think I've heard of this, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah, it comes out in November. Let's see. Any other information about it? No, but yeah, just a cool third-person action game that I can't say I even heard of. Now, actually, let me look up this Team Kill Media. Team Kill Media released games Sun and Bone, Quantum Error, Kings of Lorne. I never heard of this. This is like some AI page someone made. I'm just joking. Interesting. Look at this Son of Bone. It's like some dinosaur thing. Whoa, you got a whip, and interesting. I mean, and these the reason I haven't heard of these is it could be that they're not good games, but looking at it looks interesting. Like, look at that. Okay, so that was, then we have this Quantum Error. Let's see. Again, never heard of this. Let's see. Oh, you giving CPR or, chest compressions? Oh, looks like it has, interesting, because I saw there was like a fire hose and you look like a fireman, but you also have some crazy guns. Interesting. I wonder if this is just like a series of, kind of like first person shooters that maybe are not anything incredible, but could have some fun to them. Like this one. This one's on sale for $199. Okay, I want some gameplay. Gameplay trailer. Okay, looks like it's first person. It has some neat, creepy art direction going on. Interesting. I mean, for that cheap and it's mixed, that's not good. Edit 3, unfortunately, I think I have to revert to not recommend. Okay. Well, okay, so, the reason I'm looking through this is because a lot of times you'll find these games that you never heard of from a smaller developer, and you just never know where something could just be amazing and click. So I'm going to keep my eye out for this. Oh, projects in development. Wow. Holy moly. It's an American game studio. They got a ton of games. That's pretty cool. So I'll keep an eye out for them. Okay, so we got that. We got that. We got that. Already looked at that. Okay. Next Ghost Recon game could be leaving Ubisoft's engines in favor of Unreal. And this is a little disappointing, and this is kind of the direction it seems like these studios are going, the game industry is going now. Ubisoft's this big AAA studio, and so I'm because they already have some proprietary engines going on, I'm sure that they're probably just looking at where maybe they can cut costs. Ghost Recon isn't doing as good as they thought, so okay, let's start making that stuff in Unreal. We can hire cheaper labor for Unreal Engine. This is kind of what's going on in the AAA space, if you haven't noticed. And so this is another example of it. This game is going to Unreal Engine. I mean, Ghost Recon was on Unreal Engine in the past. They dropped that for Anvil and Snowdrop. I don't know why they've made this choice. I don't know if it's to get back to that feel, I guess, but it seems like they're going to go Unreal 5 this time, which is pretty well. I would think I would know why. I mean, I think it's pretty evident across the entire industry that it is cheaper to make games and hire for games that are built in Unreal Engine 5. So, and in Ubisoft's case, usually I don't like this, but I feel like it's okay to, and the fact that it was an Unreal Engine before kind of helps. But I think, man, I feel like in the future, we're going to look at custom engines as a big deal. And I bet you'll be able to feel it in the game. Yeah, when I'm playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, I know I'm not playing an Unreal Engine game. So I feel like for some things this can work. And I'm just talking about big AAA studios. I don't think AAA studios should be relying on Unreal Engine. But I think that speaks to the problem that the industry has been having, and they have to cut costs. Okay. Sony wants to bring PlayStation games beyond PlayStation hardware, including Xbox. And of course, this has been going on for a while now. Sony's hiring for a new position that will help expand PlayStation's reach beyond PlayStation hardware, according to a job posting. Sony's working to bring PlayStation games to platforms such as Steam, Epic Games Store, Nintendo Mobile, and yes, even Xbox, which has actually already happened. Every one of these platforms has had a game from Sony on there. So I guess now it's just more of scaling that. And also I think a lot of it is going to be them releasing older games that have already seen, maybe the sales as much as they're going to be. It's like if you already have a PlayStation 5 and haven't bought this game by now, they're probably not going to see sales. So then let's put it on Xbox and then Switch, and then that's happened before where Sony would just pay a company to do that. They're like, hey, can you just put our game here first? And then we'll pay you, and then it could be on other platforms later. And this is kind of the inverse of that. This is so that Sony can get some more money because they saw it worked with Microsoft putting Forza Horizon 5 on PlayStation. I gotta say, I like all of this that's happening, and it has been happening. And it's not like it's anything new. And I think it's just better for all gamers. I think it's even better for the publishers. So they're like, okay, we can be making money here. I don't know. So cool stuff there. Anything else I need to add on this? I don't think so. I think I might have another article. Yeah, here we go. State of Decay 3 and Gears E-Day coming to PS5 report claims. Now, I want to say that we already heard about E-Day. But State of Decay 3 makes sense. I mean, that's another one of those Microsoft properties that I think is pretty cool, but has never really gone anywhere or exploded or any of that stuff. So maybe by putting it on PlayStation, we'll see a new life. Anyway, they're saying they don't have any solid confirmation, but I think it's pretty much going to happen. So the recent report from MP First uses resumes as the guiding light for the news that State of Decay 3 and Gears E-Day will launch on PlayStation 5. In a recent write-up, the team revealed that they'd uncovered a resume for a game designer working on Gears E-Day who writes that the game will launch on Xbox Series, PC, and PS5. Similarly, they've dug up a resume for developer at Undead Labs who writes that State of Decay 3 is coming to PC, Xbox, and PS5. So I feel like that confirms it, or at least it confirms that they're doing work there. So, yeah. Autonomous State of Decay was originally an indie dev that got the hard push by Xbox after its sudden explosion of success. State of Decay 3 continuing to be pushed onto PS5 makes sense. Yeah. And I've never beat either State of Decay, but I've always played the beginning of each one, and I've always liked its tone and what it was going for. And there's so many times where I want to like jump back into it. I don't know why I never really stick with it. I never know. Never knew why. Okay. Toxic Crusaders launches December 4th. So this was, I want to say it was announced maybe last year, maybe the year before, but then they had a demo came out. I played it. It's fine. It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up. One of my favorite types of genres. Now, what's interesting is we've had a resurgence of these side-scrolling beat 'em ups recently, and I love it. Actually, if we look down here, like that Power Rangers Rita's Rewind, it says only 4 hours on record. I did beat it. Another one that, let's see. What was the other one that's not showing up on here? The G.I. Joe game, which I don't know how they messed up that G.I. Joe game. That G.I. Joe side-scrolling beat 'em up, Rise of Cobra, I think it was called, that came out last year, was like halfway there. But the other half that wasn't there held it back from just being fun. Like I beat it or I gave up just because there were so many little problems. And you know what? The same thing happened with the Power Ranger game. In fact, by the time I beat the Power Ranger game, they redid the combat system. And so it's like, well, they didn't even really know what they were doing in the first place. And I hate to sound like that because, obviously it's hard to make these games, but I will say it's been consistent that these IP-based side-scrolling beat-em-ups don't turn out as good as they could be. And here's the other thing too, and like the Shredder's Revenge, that Ninja Turtle game, which usually you could just find it always on, yeah. Like, I think this is a good game, but I also think that it is held back by a lack of diversity in diversity in the combat mechanics. Because there's really only one attack button, but then there's the dodge, and then there's your special. Like, I feel like they could have done so much more. Whereas the Power Rangers in the G.I. Joe game had more combat mechanics. That this Ninja Turtles game is just a more polished product. And with what little combat mechanics there were, they were fully realized. I'm a big fan of these games, and so this Toxic Crusaders game, I can't wait. But December 4th is kind of a while. $25 is a super fair price, in my opinion. Completely fair. So yeah, it'll be fun to play it. The turtles don't play differently. Not really, other than you have an attack button. You mean they might have different animations and all that, but it's there's some to it, like, you know what? And they added some DLC characters that are actually a lot more interesting. I think one came out, was it the end of last year or the beginning of this year? I forgot, where it wasn't working, and I had to message them on Twitter, and it was like a bug. And I didn't even go back to that because they added Kira, or what was the name? Kara, the ninja girl, and then uh Yojimbo, the rabbit. Yeah, I forget. Um, all right, we looked at that. Oops, messed up. Okay. God of War Amazon TV series details shared at San Diego Comic-Con. So what did they share, huh? However, in October, it emerged that the series was starting from scratch. Um, let's see. The God of War game director Corey Balrog appears to be directly involved with the development, with more stating that he has had several. So, man, I hate to do this. I'm going to do this quick for a second. Corey Barlog has been a part of, the more recent God of Wars. I mean, in terms of like spearheading it. And as a huge fan of the God of War series, I've played them all. I mean, even though the 2018 or whenever they came out with that first one game, it's like a fine game. It's its own thing. It doesn't have the essence of what the core God of War action game was supposed to be. And so because of that, there's some disappointment, especially to, okay, what are they going to do future? It's like forgetting. They focused so much on the character of Kratos, they forgot to the gameplay that got him to where he was. Because even with that DLC expansion they came out for the last God of War, was supposed to be, they were just trying to go back to be more of like action oriented. But I don't know. It's weird. Like, I almost feel like there's something wrong with me because I don't like those new God of War games. I've tried to play them. They're just, to me, I consider those prestige, like Last of Us, that God of War. Those are like hand holding third person action game, cinematic action game, because it looks so real and cinematic that the gameplay is very constricted. Um, yeah, I don't know. And I would think, that so God of War is popular for Sony, but considering all the issues they're having, you would think then they could have leveraged God of War more, and they haven't. The fact that they're not leveraging Twisted Metal is pretty silly considering they have the TV show. So again, a lot of weird stuff going on at PlayStation. We know that. That's why they're doing multi-platform. All right, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection release date accidentally revealed. So this is cool. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection's release date was accidentally revealed earlier today through the Xbox mobile app. The game is expected to arrive on September 29th, 2025. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection was announced earlier this year during Sony's State of Play event in June. During the showcase, it was revealed that the Legacy Collection will feature a host of classic games from the franchise, including the original 1992 title and a Game Boy Advance exclusive game, too. Now, the release date for MK Legacy Collection has accidentally surfaced online, so that's September 29th, 2025. It comes with multiple editions, which include the iconic arcade classics, so that's cool, popular home versions, and other fan favorite releases. The collection will feature online play enhanced by rollback netcode, which is engineered to preserve the precision of every attack, even when players are across vast distances. Let's see. MK Legacy Collection will unlock all secret characters at the touch of a button. Players can also customize game settings and access buried developer menus to play the games they want. There's also an interactive documentary to look forward to, featuring behind the scenes on the history of the franchise, along with exclusive interviews with MK developers. So that's cool. And I like how they talked about unlocking secret characters with the touch of a button, getting into some game setting, customize. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of cool stuff I think makes sense when it comes to later releases. And I really picked up on that. What was it? From playing Thunder Force and Lightning Force on Switch, how it has all these options so you can just really get what you want out of the game. So, Well, guys, that just about does it. Yeah, no gameplay today. I got to get to work, but just wanted to catch you up. I think the main takeaway. Sorry, I'm burping a lot. The main takeaway is I beat Donkey Kong Bonanza, and it's game of the year, 100%. I don't think there's any other game that could beat it this year. I'd be really surprised. That game really did what I wanted, and it was amazing. So, guys, I'm going to head out. It was a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow with some more. So, until next time. Be-